Hi everyone, welcome to my channel today. I'm working on a project for a new swap group that I just joined on Facebook. I needed to turn in a memdex or a mini 3-pocket, what do you call those? Pocket letter? 3-pocket letter. I've never made either a memdex or a pocket letter before, so I am practicing doing some memdex cards, and I got out my Scrapdiva mini-memdex set that I have never used before. And I cut out these 3 designs, and then I layered them with the paper. And the collection I am using is this one by Paige Evans. And it is, let's see, it is called Splendid. And I got this at Tuesday Mornings a couple months ago. And I really love the colors that are in it. So I'm using that as my background paper. And this was just some solid cardstock that I cut out to match. And then I did put together, let me show you, a sequins mix that matches the pattern paper that I'm going to use in my shakers. And I am using the shaker mix, and I'm making some shaker ladybugs, also a Scrapdivadesigns die that I had in my stash. So I'm going to layer this up, and I'm going to make them into shakers. And I'm going to use the sequin mix for that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and glue. So I'm going to make 3 ladybugs, and they're all going to be the same except for the embellishments. So I'm going to glue this pattern to the 110-pound cardstock for all 3 of these. And then I'm going to layer them up with the other paper. Okay, I went ahead and completed 2 of the memdex cards and give you a closer look at what I did. I added 3 layers of the wings on each side, made a shaker card back in there. And then I layered up a flower, put a button on it, added a couple Nuvo drops on the antenna. And then here I added a couple of the clear dewdrops. Turned out super cute. I left the back blank. So that was one. And then here's the other one, pretty much the same. Just a slightly different flower on the front, but everything else is the same with the exception of the shape of the memdex. And all the pattern paper I used was from the same Paige Evans collection, even the flowers. Really like how those turned out. So now the third one is this shaped one, and I'm going to show you how I assemble the ladybug, and we'll put this together. Okay, so here's all the pieces. For now, I'm just going to put this behind because that'll be the last thing that I do is glue everything on to the memdex card. So here's all the pieces. I think I have a few extra. So this is the base piece. I already glued it onto a piece of white 110-pound cardstock. So that'll be the base. And then I'm going to make the shaker part of it, which I already cut out the acetate. And I used this die to cut the acetate out, and then I just cut off the head that's not needed for the shaker part. And then this I'm going to glue on top of here. And then I did cut out an extra piece of foam board so I could add dimension for making the shaker. And I don't need this piece, but I'm going to go ahead and add it on here just to add a little bit more dimension. It's just one piece of 110-pound cardstock. And I'm just gonna start with my wet glue. And just go all the way around the back of the piece of cardstock. And then I'm gonna glue it right on top of the foam core just to make it a little extra thick, little extra thickness on there. I have made shaker cards where I have had to cut out about 8 layers of 110-pound cardstock, so I definitely appreciate that this foam works, and I get it at the Dollar Tree. So there we go. I'm just gonna use my bone folder, which I just put away. I don't know why I did that. And we're gonna just press that down just gently. Don't press real hard on it because you'll flatten your foam board out, and we don't want it any flatter. Okay, so now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm gonna glue the acetate to the top of this. So I'm just going to, on the top of this, now I'm gonna add glue all the way around. And then after I get the glue on here, I run my finger over it just so that it's spread out real good and it's not gonna ooze out onto the acetate. So just smooth it out. It doesn't take a lot of glue on here, and as this dries it becomes a little tacky, which is helpful for things to stick to it. So just run that around, and you're gonna have extra on your finger, and I just rub that off to get rid of it before I go touching the acetate, because the acetate picks up stuff really easily. It'll pick up the glue really easily. Okay, so that is covered with glue on the top. I'm gonna pick up the acetate and then take this and then try to match it as well as you can off the bat, because you don't want to have to move it around too much, because you're just gonna smear the glue around. And then once you get it in place, just go around and make sure it's touching the glue all the way around. On top of this, we're gonna wanna add the final framed piece that's gonna make the outline of the wings at the top of the shaker. So we're gonna wanna put glue on the back of this piece next. So I'm gonna do that next. And I'm gonna spread the glue around with my finger the same way as I did when I put the acetate on, just so that the extra glue doesn't smear around and get onto the acetate, because it just gives it a cleaner finish, you know, for everything. And this glue will dry clear, but on the acetate, it will show up a little bit. So I just don't want any extra glue oozing out over the edges. So we're gonna take this, just put it on as close to where it needs to be as possible right off the bat. Just gonna lay it down and then gently press it down with my bone folder again, just to make sure that the glue is adhered to both the pattern paper and the acetate real good. All right, I'm gonna let that dry for a couple minutes, and then I'll put the shaker bits in there in a little bit. So while I'm letting that dry, first I'm gonna glue the head on this before I glue anything to the base, because it makes it easier to make sure that's all matched up. So I'm gonna put glue on the back of this piece, and then we're gonna glue that onto the base piece. You can really use any combination of pattern paper that you want if you want to really mix it up, as long as they coordinate with each other and look good together. Okay, so that is going to be cute. It's coming together nice. All right, let that dry. Next, we're going to work with the wings. This is the top layer, and then I cut out 2 pieces of plain cardstock, and I have some extra here that I'm going to put aside. First thing I'm going to do is add to the back of the coordinating paper this pattern paper, and that's the negative that I cut out from this top paper here. So you want to save that, and then you can glue that so that comes out of there. Then you can glue that to the back of the top piece of pattern paper. Let's first do these. So I cut out 2 of these plain cardstock. We're going to put them together. I'm just going to put them together and then fold the whole thing in half at the wing like that. And then I'm going to put glue just right here in the middle so I can glue those 2 together. Just right down the middle. You can use hot glue if you want. I just happen to prefer wet glue because I think it's going to give it a stronger bond, I think. I don't know. I could be totally wrong. But sometimes I just don't like to get my glue gun out. And I can be kind of messy with it. Okay, so those are the 2 base pieces. They're going to go there. And then on top is going to be the pattern paper. So I'm going to fold that in half like that. And then we're going to glue this to here. So I'm just going to put another line of glue down the middle like that. I love this time of year using these bright colors of cardstock. When spring is coming, it just feels so good to use all these bright colors. So I thought this was perfect time to be making a ladybug craft project. Okay, so I'm just gonna let that dry. Oh, you know what? I forgot to put the pattern paper on the back of here. So we can still do that. I'm just gonna get some glue on here. And then here is the pattern paper. You wanna glue the right side to the back. So just like that, because you want the pattern to show through the other side, if that makes sense. You can get that extra glue off the outside so it doesn't stick. Okay. All right, so see how that works? Now I'm gonna do the same thing to this side. So just glue it to the very top layer. Sorry, my cat. I don't know. She just has to start talking as soon as I'm recording. And here she is. Hi, Emmy. Okay, so this is the other side. Again, the right side is gonna be glued down. Oops. But make sure you turn it around the right way and get that all stuck down real good. Okay, so I'm gonna let that just dry real good. Okay, now while that's drying, I'm gonna go back to the shaker element. So I'm gonna turn this over and I'm gonna add my shaker bits inside these 3 compartments. And I'm going to take a little piece of this tissue paper that came on my sheet of acetate. I like to rub it on the inside and try to pick up any bits of anything that's collected in there. Paper, you know, just, it doesn't pick up everything, but it can help. And I do like to try to get rid of some of the glue. Let's see. Okay, so that's pretty good. So I'm gonna lay it face down on my surface. And then I'm going to get my sequin mix that I made. And then I'm gonna fill in these 3 sections here. All right, so I'm just gonna put my spoon in here and grab some out. Start putting in the 3 compartments. That feels a little full over there. These have a lot of static in them, So sometimes they pop out and like to stick to things you don't want them to stick to. So you just have to be a little patient. And I'm gonna use one of these yellow diamond dots. So I'm gonna grab one out if I can get it. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna put 2 of those aside because I'm gonna use them as the top of the antenna, and I'll glue those on later. Okay, I think that's probably a good amount in there. Try to get this as flat as you can before you put the back on. Now I'm going to leave this flat, and then I'm going to put glue all around this white part here, and then I'm going to lay this on top, placing it where it needs to go, and then I'm going to let it dry before I move it or use it as the shaker. So again, glue all the way around, and then when I'm done putting the glue on, I'm going to wipe my finger around it to spread that glue out really good and to get rid of anything that might ooze onto the back layer and make things stick to it that shouldn't. All right. Looks pretty good. Here is the ladybug backing. You're going to want to flip this over, and you're going to want to glue the right side to the back of that, if that makes sense. So here's the back side of it. We're going to glue it on top of where we just put the glue on. Trying to match everything where it goes, and then gently go around with your bone folder or your finger and make sure that the glue gets stuck on there real good. Don't press down real hard because you don't want to press down on your layers and squish the foam board. Okay, here's what the shaker looks like on the front after I put the shaker bits in. Looks really cute. The last piece that we need to add to the ladybug is the wings, and I'm just going to glue it right on there. To do that, you can either use hot glue if you like to use hot glue. I'm going to use my liquid glue and just put a good bit of glue right there. And I like to use more here because their wings are going to have some movement to them, and you might play around with it a little bit. So I'm just going to place this right where it would go over the base. And I am going to use a clip to hold this in place so it can dry for a couple minutes. And then while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and put the little yellow Nuvo drops, or not Nuvo drops. You could use Nuvo drops, but diamond dots that I have. And I'm going to glue those in place. I keep putting things away that I'm not done with, trying to be organized. So just a tiny little drop of glue there on the top of each antenna. And this is sticky, so it's going to help me pick up my little tiny new diamond dot. I keep trying to call these Nuvo drops. Put it right on there. Okay. So I'm going to let that dry. And then the only thing left to do after this wing dries on there is to embellish the middle of it. Like I did this. Okay, I have discovered I need to make some more mini flowers. I have a couple different things I could do. I have these really, really mini flowers. I was thinking I could just put those in the middle there. You know, I think maybe I'm just going to make it plain and put that flower. And then if I gift this to somebody, they can make it a little more fancy if they want to. I have this piece of tulle here. So I could just bunch that maybe and then put that flower. That's kind of pretty. I'm going to get my glue gun plugged in and wait for that to warm up. It's a little bit bigger on the bottom, so I just want to even it a little bit. Okay, so I think that should be, my glue gun I think is warmed up, so I'm gonna go ahead and start scrunching this tulle together. And it is yellow, it's the Same yellow as the color that's in the paper collection that I'm using. So I think it'll be really cute. All right, so I'm gonna just put it right there in the middle and get my glue gun. I probably better put the glue on the ladybug first. Let's get that going. I'm gonna try to just put it in the middle. Okay, so just put that down there, and then I'm gonna put a little bit more hot glue where I'm putting the flower. I like the way that looks. Just gives it a little bit extra cute little flair of embellishment. And let me fluff up the wings a little bit. There you have another ladybug embellishment. Super cute. Can't really see the shaker back here unless you peek in there and look at it, but it's a fun little detail. You could always lift the wings up more. There we go. Now I'm going to glue it on the back onto the Memdex card. I'm going to put this on foam tape. Now you can add hot glue to the back of this if you want to, or wet glue. So I'm going to peel these off and I'm going to add wet glue. Okay, so you can put it however way you want on here, straight, at an angle, depending on which side you want it showing. I kind of like this flower, so I'm going to put it at an angle about there. Gently push it down so all the glue, there we go. That is really cute, liking that. In the last finishing touch, I'm just going to add a couple little dewdrops. Just put some, I think I'll put a big one on there and just a little one there. So I'm going to do the little one there. I love the way these add, they just add a little bit extra, whoops, to your project. So that is my finished Memdex. Let me show you all three of them that I made. This was the one I made with you in the video. Super cute. It's got a lot of layers. And the back, I did leave blank on all three of them so you can write your information on there. So that is one. And then here's the second one I made. They're all made the same. They all have a lot of layering. I just changed out the center on this one, and the shape of the Memdex is just slightly different. And then here's the last one I made. You can definitely fluff up the wings more if you want. There we go, so cute. All right, and that is all three Memdex cards I made today. So I'm gonna pick the one I'm gonna send for my initiation into the swap group. It's probably gonna be either this one or this one, because on this one my wings didn't match up exactly, so I don't wanna send that. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned because I'll be doing more videos like this. If you have not already subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so. Bye-bye, have a blessed day, and I'll see you in my next video.